Welcome, welcome. Oh, goodness. I hope everyone is doing good. I hope everyone's having an amazing Saturday. Sorry, I'm just gathering a few things up. Welcome in, Harley Dad. It's good to see you. Welcome in, Illiterate. Welcome in, Billy Bong Waters. So I've been working on my computer trying to get it a little more, I guess, efficient. Hoping and praying that maybe I won't be dropping off like I have been. So hopefully it works out. Guidance, it's great to see you. The chairman, welcome in. Oh, Lady O. Oh, Lady O. Welcome in. I hope I haven't missed anyone. I've missed playing games with you, Billy. Does that help the babies go to sleep at night? I love peanut butter. It's like one of my favorite snacks. You know what sounds good is some fresh popcorn with some like peanut butter on it. I might make that because I'm going to be watching a movie a little bit later, and it's the Aquaman movie. I haven't got to see it yet. I think after the whole Johnny Depp thing, I think I was kind of like, maybe I don't want to see it. Here, I can drop a link if anyone would like to come up and join me for this topic. Because we see it all the time. And it's not just in the true crime community, it's actually all over. And, there's other creators I've been like kind of keeping eyes on. And I'm sure you've heard their names. So I've just been kind of like watching them and, I've seen them be bashed before. And I'm just like, interesting. A lot of things can be taken out of context, but yet sometimes, they're not really that bad of people. I don't know. A couple of them you guys may not know. I don't know. Anyways, so, I've been visiting other areas of YouTube and just kind of like watching and looking. And I think that it's everywhere. I really do. I think it's in every aspect of YouTube. And I think it's kind of out of fear. Like, I think that they get worried that, they may either lose like viewers or maybe money that their viewers are giving or something. And then they just become kind of bitter and angry. And so, they start finding reasons to lash out. And honestly, I really do think there's just some people out there that have really nothing better to do with their lives other than, try to demean another person. And I think that's very cruel because, for humanity, like I said yesterday, just for humanity, we should be helping lift each other up and, helping each other be better, better than they were yesterday, whether it's emotionally, physically, you know, even if it's just like, you want to learn about Pilates or yoga, anything. Welcome in, Tennille. It's good to see you. Harley Dad says, what? No, I've never heard or seen internet bullying violence on YouTube. Is that a joke? I hope that's a joke. No, I just wanted a PB&J. Have you had a toasted PB&J guidance? I know it's like an old thing. I don't know if people even still do it, but it is really good. So yesterday was quite fun. We kind of touched on this topic a little bit jokingly. Oh, yeah, that was my belly. Not so pleasant. Sorry about that. Boule, boule. Yes, I have grilled peanut butter. What is grilled peanut butter? I don't think I've ever heard of that. Grilled peanut butter. Are they like grilled peanuts and then it's turned into peanut butter? You're going to have to tell me about that one. Yes. Chairman, you're welcome to come up and discuss it if you like. That is what today's topic is all about. It's craziness. Oh, speaking of which, one of them is on. So, you know, Bullhorn Betty's been, bashed and abused. You know, Dolly's been reamed, and I really do think, a lot of it is uh some of the things that they do. People have different perspectives on everything. So for instance, when Pencil comes in, I'm sure she will. Pencil has like one viewpoint about the death penalty, and I have another, but we're not like fighting over it. I'm not hunting her down to go stalk her and be like, oh, your opinion is trash. Everyone's allowed their own opinion. But it's when we take that opinion and we try to enforce our opinion on someone else and it causes havoc. Just because, guidance may not agree with something I say or something I do, um, doesn't mean that she has to go out and attack me. It shouldn't be that way. And I'm not saying she has or would or done none of that. I was just using it as an example, so I'm sure somebody's going to take that out of context and clip it. Um, so if it does get clipped, just remember I said I didn't say that like on purpose, kind of thing. Like, it was used as an example. Sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable. Currently, Bullhorn Betty is getting stalked on location. She is. Goodness. And to me, that's crazy. It's not the same crazy lady, is it? It's not the one that came down from like Canada. And so there is those people that will go out of their way to find your location, stalk you, stalk your family, stalk your kids. If you are being stalked and blatantly harassed, file a police report. Just do it. Just get it over with. And if you have to, file a protective order. There is ways of finding out, by letting law enforcement know who that person is and saying, hey, this is uncalled for. It's not necessary, especially if you haven't done anything that's, triggering that person either. So yeah, I don't agree with it. It smells like wet hot dogs in here. Yuck. I'm still thinking, hi, B. B, you're welcome to come up. Let me know if you need me to drop a new link. I don't know if you can still see it. I should just pin it, huh? Hold on, let me go find it. Do. There, I pinned it. How are you doing, illiterate? I already clipped the guidance. Oh my gosh. Well, she never has been to me. And, even the people that have been snotty to me, I just typically I just let it go in one ear and out the other. And, sometimes, it's really hard to not do that. And as of recently, I did get kind of mouthy, which I don't typically do. I normally hold my composure pretty well. And maybe it's just because I don't feel good. I'll just use that as an excuse. I just don't feel good. I just don't really have the patience to deal with it. Well, I really don't have patience anyway, but I just don't have patience to deal with it. Welcome up, B.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Hey, have you decided if we're going to do that on Sunday?
Oh, go live.
Uh-huh.
Um, is I don't have a problem with it as long as nobody says nothing to us. They're getting kind of dirty over there.
Well,
The company,
you're not live. I'm live. I just happen to be streaming what you're viewing.
and that may be the case, but they're getting dirty.
Are
They've been
they?
calling the police on us for walking down the sidewalk.
Is
They
it considered private property now if you actually go on to location?
Absolutely not. That's a public sidewalk.
So what are they doing with like the regular news channel?
They're parking in the middle of the intersections, like right in the median between the two sides of the road.
But they're
It's a
not making them move?
it's a 4-lane road. No, they're just if the police show up, they take off and move their truck somewhere else.
Oh wow. That's very crazy. So hopefully on Sunday, B can do some little interviews with some people out there, and we can get some live action footage on what's going on with the strike in the automobile, the UAW,
Yes.
United Auto Workers
Yep.
Association or something.
But it's the union's actually a little bigger than that. I just found out when I called for my health insurance today that Blue Cross Blue Shield is a UAW company, and they're on strike as well.
Really?
Yes.
Oh gosh, I hope that has nothing to do with why I'm having issues with my insurance right now.
Yeah. And then
They're on strike.
uh, it's aeronautical and aerospace workers are also included in our union as well. So it's a large union, but right now they're just going after the automakers. But we have the support of the Teamsters as well as many other unions, which are going to drastically affect the way things get delivered, things like that throughout the U.S. the longer this goes on.
Wow. That's just crazy to me. Like, I mean, I've heard of it throughout my lifetime. I've heard of, companies going on strike and stuff, but this is like, wow. Yeah.
Well, like I said, we are not the largest, but one of the largest unions. And when it comes to finances, I mean, they said $5 billion out of the U.S. economy for every 10 days. That
5
is a
billion.
$5 billion for every 10 days we don't work.
Wow, that's quite a bit of money.
Absolutely.
Tennille says she was part of the United States Steelworkers or United Steelworkers Union.
Yep. I just spoke with one of my coworkers, and they had some Canadian auto workers, which is their union there, CWA, come down, and they are supporting them as well.
Wow, that's wow.
But that's why they say it's the solidarity. That's the big thing they push for, is because they say there's solidarity between all of them, more or less saying that, if you mess with one union, you got to take us all on. Yeah, it's like that's why the Teamsters said, okay, well, if they want to play that game, we're not going to deliver any more cars for them. So they get zero Teamsters are pulling into those plants to haul off cars.
Right. So like if they shut down, all of their avenues and they can't turn to anybody else to, finish production or whatnot. And I think that's a good idea. If you shut something down from all directions, then they have no choice but to bend. Right?
Yes. And then what it does is it still, since they only called a strike on 3 companies, what it does is financially hurts the company even more. Because not only are they're going to get to the point where they can't run production, but then they have to, since those workers are not striking, they have to give them unemployment. And then on top of that, they're going to get sub pay. So those employees are going to get, probably $700-800 a week to live on, $900 a week, somewhere on that, something along that lines on the low side, in the form of a paycheck, and not have to work for it.
Wow.
They also still keep all of their full health insurance, their life insurance, and any other benefits. The company can't modify the terms of the agreement. Even though the contract is expired, they can't modify the terms until a new contract has been ratified.
And so how long do you think this process is going to take?
Again, I have no idea. Basically, they just asked our president again on the news, and his reply was 1 day longer than the company holds out to meeting our demands.
Let's see if there's any updates, guys. Let's see if there's any updates. Let me grab my keyboard.
That really is guidance. I just saw a little poll released by the union, and it's the CEOs that are making the money. You could take. They say they have to be competitive with their counterparts or competition, in other countries and whatnot. But if they want to match, their competitors, they should match their pay and match their salaries as well. The CEO of Honda makes like $1.4 million a year. The CEO of Ford makes over 21 million a year. He makes 21 times what the CEO of Honda makes. But they think our pay is the one that needs cut.
Okay, let me look and see. What updates we have and see if there's any really like updates like right now, anything live.
Absolutely
Okay,
nothing.
we have 10 hours ago. Let's see here. Features live.
There won't,
UAW stand up live strike. Oh, we do have a live. Okay, that's a talk show. We have Texas.
You're absolutely right, guidance. On top of that, they're also wanting to keep Wall Street happy. So I bought Ford stock back in 2019, and it was $5 a share. That same stock is now $12 per share, and they are looking to triple what they used to pay in a dividend. And if those of you that don't know what a dividend is on a stock, it's it's a payment made for every single share of that company's stock that you own that you usually get quarterly. So they're now paying 3 times as much to the shareholders, which also just happen to be a large number of the CEOs, as well as giving themselves like 40 to 60 or 40 to 46% raises, depending on the automaker.
Oh my gosh, I did some. Oh, I know. I hate changing subjects, but I had to do some updates, to my computer, like overclocking the RAM and stuff like that. And it's like not even red. Let's see if I get kicked off. Yes, look at that. Smooth as a whistle. Okay. I may have fixed it. Okay, let me restart this and
like we're nearing a deal at this point. Look, it is day two. We are hearing a lot of energy from these folks chanting, cheering. I actually want to bring in Derek here. Derek is, you are the strike captain. Is that right for this group?
That is correct.
Of all the factories, plants across the country that have been selected,
I don't see B out there
this
yet.
Initial tactical strike, you guys were one of them. What was your reaction when you heard that news?
I felt that Mr. Fain did a good job hitting them with their moneymaker here. The Wrangler is one of the highest profitable.
That's a Jeep plant. That's in Ohio.
Company, and he's showing them that he's serious.
This is in Toledo.
Made here about 1,000 a day. They are back at the bargaining table today. Your leadership,
1,000 vehicles a day.
We have heard strong words from both sides.
Yeah, we make
message for
550 to 600
today
per
as
shift.
they head back to the bargaining
shifts.
table. Speaking for so many of the members here,
we stand behind you guys. We like the demands the union has, and we are out here supporting. And we feel that that's what we deserve.
And what is the frustration you think after months of negotiation, it's led to this? What are the biggest points of?
Well, haven't you been complaining about this for a hot minute, B? Like this is not new. Like you've been complaining about, the negotiations. We've had long conversations about this, about the negotiating, and you're like, they didn't do it this year. Negotiating again. You're like, oh, they're not doing it this year.
Well, there's usually we do a local agreement, which is our local contract with Ford. And then there's the national agreement, which is this. At this particular time, both contracts are up, and it's time for things to change. I mean, the companies know it. They just don't want to pay up. I mean, they went from offering us 3% raises to 20% pay raises. I mean,
Wow.
they know they've got to pay up.
I'm still blown away about what you told me yesterday, about, her pay raise, the CEO's pay raise.
Mary Barra from GM,
It wasn't it from 2 million to 22 million?
something along those lines. Yes.
That is do you realize that's like 1,000%
Hang
pay
on, I'll
raise?
tell you. I read this little thing online that posted all of the CEO's salary for all the other automakers. You could, let me see if I can find it. There it is. You could hire, they say that they need to stay competitive with their, the other automakers. So you go to CEO's total compensation for what the, actually there's some places are saying that Mary Barra is up to like 29 million, that
Wow.
woman. But you could hire
Mm-mm.
you could hire the CEO from Volkswagen, Toyota, Daimler Benz, and Honda, all of them for less than what that woman makes.
Wow, here's one from Detroit. Hold on, let's see. And this was only from like 5 hours ago. It just blows me away that they just won't, fix the freaking problem. Just, just negotiate. Just do what they need to do.
And guidance, that's partially true. But they knew the water was so bad in that town that they took and made a specific water pipeline just for GM to use, while the people that lived in that area basically were drinking poison. GM said that water was so toxic that when they rinsed their parts off in it at the factory, it was causing the parts to rust. But it's okay for the people to drink.
Wow. Mm-mm. They won't even let you drink the water where like there's cow farms or military bases because of all the stuff that goes into the water. Well, here, this was day 2, and this was from 5 hours ago. So let's hear what they have to say.
Hey there, it's Jordan with Status Quo. I am back here in front of the Ford assembly plant in Wayne, Michigan. Day two of the United Auto Workers on strike. Yesterday was pretty busy, I'll tell you. And my back was feeling it when I went down to bed. Yesterday, we were here at this picket line outside of the Ford plant. If you don't know, Ford here in Wayne, Michigan,
He has
walked
a really
out
gruff voice.
at midnight on a Thursday night into Friday. You also have a plant in Toledo, Ohio, Stellantis, that went on strike. And you have a plant with GM in Wentzville, Missouri, who is on strike. This is the first time that the United Auto Workers has gone on strike against all 3 companies at once. They're calling it a stand-up.
Do you mean the water coated the parts with rust?
No, the parts were already coated. They had a protective film over them, and the water was eating through it and making the parts still rust.
Ew. Yuck.
So that's when GM decided that they didn't want the local water.
Wow. Mm-mm. Not unless it was for like washing. Oh, well, not if it's eating the rust. Never mind.
Strike. And they are basically doing it kind of like in a staggered approach where you start with a couple plants. And then if the companies keep delaying, stalling, offering insulting offers, then they will be going out on strike at more plants. Kind of keeps the companies guessing. To be honest, obviously there's a lot of workers who were a little disappointed and wanted it all at once, everywhere, all workers out on strike at the same time. But a lot of workers I've spoken with actually like this approach. They like kind of keeping the companies on the defense, making them kind of stressed. They don't know which plants might go on strike next, which obviously could cause a little chaos. So we're going to talk to more workers today. The new plot, the new nugget of information, unfortunately, is the greedy ghouls at Ford announced that they are going to lay off 600 workers at this plant in retaliation to this plant going on strike. I thought there were labor laws in this country. I suppose not. But they are saying they're going to lay off 600 workers at this plant after making $24 billion in profit last year. So we'll talk to workers. I wanted to start with a state representative, Alabas.
Yes, sir.
Tell folks how long you've been in the state.
And so I'm assuming this gentleman is another YouTuber. I don't believe he's national news. So it's kind of nice that, like there's YouTubers out there that are, out there getting this word out.
Assembly and kind of what's your relationship to UAW before you got in?
Yeah, so I joined the Michigan legislature this past January after winning my election last year. I'm proud to represent the city of Dearborn and Detroit in the legislature. Dearborn is home to
I
Ford's
get to
headquarters
know.
in Michigan. We're also home to the Rouge plant, where we make the best-selling pickup truck in America, the F-150. My grandfather worked for Stellantis. Unions built the fabric of what my district is embodied in and our values, right? And so today I'm here proud to be with the UAW. I'm proud to have been with them in the night when they walked up the line here in Wayne Plant. And I want to talk about your point, laying off these 600 workers. It is a tactic. It's a ploy. It's a ploy that shifts blame away from the companies to try and shift it on the unions. When in reality,
Well, Diden says that she says she has video footage of toxic dumping into the creeks and rivers and stuff. It blames the lack of magnesium, even though I saw the deeds firsthand. Wow. Craziness. So you saw them dumping that stuff in the water? Ugh. I don't know. I don't have a thing against drinking tap water. It's just we have to imagine all the stuff that's going into it at this point.
they just negotiated in good faith with the unions from the beginning. When they got their economic requests, they got them 6 weeks ago, and they didn't start negotiating until the last week before the strike happened. I mean, this is just political theater. It's worse. And again, the corporations have been proven that they're okay with people suffering as a result of it, right? To keep their bottom lines as profitable as possible.
What do you think in terms of, it seems that they all kind of got in a meeting, the CEO of GM, Ford, Stellantis, because they're on TV yesterday. They're saying, oh, we've been trying to bargain for weeks. We've been making, quote, generous offers that they've been proposing. But a lot of workers I'm talking.
And what are they calling a generous offer be? Because obviously it's not that generous, or you guys would have accepted already.
Well, here's the problem. In 2009, we took concessions to save the company from bankruptcy. You know, GM took the bailout. Chrysler got bought out. Ford remained Ford. But what we did is we, like a handshake deal, we said, look, we'll give up pension plans. We'll give up our cost of living adjustment. And we gave up raises in exchange to keep the company afloat, with the understanding that, you know, once these things came through, you know, the economy recovered and they had the means to financially be stable, they would, you know, get us our stuff back. But it never happened. Instead, they gave the CEOs 40% raises. They're paying 150% more in dividends to the stockholders, which again goes to the CEOs and corporate America that's already billionaires. And then on top of that, now they tell us, they offered us last week, I think they were a 3% raise. They just changed it the day before we walked out, and they offered us 20% raises. But if you do the math and you break it down, that doesn't offset not only the cost of living adjustment, the inflation protection that was offered before, but it also doesn't offset the pay cuts they took. An employee adjusted for inflation, an employee that walks in the door today makes about $10 an hour less than that same employee did back in 2009. And that employee that walked in 2009 had a full pension paid for by the company, an option for the 401k. They had full health care for their entire family after 90 days. And their progression was, I believe, 4 years to be a full-time employee. Now these kids have to come in. They make $16 an hour, and they don't get to be a full-time employee for up to 2 years. And then after that, they have to work another 8 years to get up to full-scale pay.
Wow.
So, like I said, that's what I was saying last night. There's people literally working on a line, working next to somebody that's making 32 plus an hour, while the kid right across from doing the opposite but the same job on the other side of the vehicle only makes 16. They both have to work just as hard.
And so they both work just the same, doing the same job, everything, and completely different pay. And I remember when you went back to work, you were saying something about that also.
Yeah,
You were like, why is this person getting this? And I remember you bringing that up.
Yeah, I mean, there's people in there that their only job is to move a vehicle. They hop in a car and they drive it to another side of the plant. That is their only job. That person still makes 100 to 120K a year. While there may be someone younger who just got hired, who's on the other side of the plant, taking the 37-inch off-road wheels and tires already mounted and bolting them on the truck. They're taking a 70-pound wheel and tire and lifting 550 times a night to put them on a truck.
Wow. Okay, let's do you want to listen to the rest of this? See what he has to say?
I've actually already seen this guy. I follow him.
Awesome. So what does he say?
What's that?
Does he have any new insight?
No, nobody does. So yesterday, basically, our president said, look, I've given these guys a month and a half to sit down and bargain with me. The CEO of Chrysler went to Mexico and bought himself another $1 million mansion. GM and Ford basically ignored him. None of them wanted to do anything until they had a week left. They basically thought he was full of it until he started shutting stuff down. Now they're disappointed and upset, and they're playing dirty. I mean, they're calling the cops on their own employees for walking down the sidewalk.
Wow. Well, hopefully we'll hear some news like Monday, maybe.
What is Billy Blongwater saying? So you're on strike to give 100K that just started working. You're missing the point. Here's an example. Chrysler, for example, takes their employees. They start them at $15 an hour. I think Chrysler is the lowest paying of the group. It might be GM, but
I believe they're trying to raise the starting wage, correct?
yes, they want them to start at, because if you're doing the exact same job, if they work next to me, this kid's going to have all kinds of animosity towards me. He's going to think I'm lazy, I'm not doing my job, whatever the case is, even if I'm busting my ass. Because that kid's going to be looking at me like, why isn't this guy working twice as hard as me? Because he makes twice as much money.
Now, before you go on, like what I mean is like, so in law enforcement, law enforcement can be like entry level, do the same job as another officer that's been there for, 10, 15 years. And, you gain money by how long you've been there. So
which is,
are they just trying to raise the entry level pay and benefits, or are they trying to raise it for everyone?
partially, but what they're doing is, like I said, the companies are taking advantage of those workers. Those workers get hired, well, they get temporarily hired in, with the understanding that at someday they'll be able to make that full pay scale. But what Chrysler is doing, Ford's been notorious for doing it in the past, and GM, they basically tell them, look, good luck, you're never going to get there. But what Chrysler is, and Chrysler is the worst for this, they will work them 89 days and then lay them off. Then they'll be off for a month, and then they'll work them another 89 days. And there are people, like I said, they just had a guy on the news the other day. He's been doing that for 8 years at Chrysler. He just got turned into a full-time employee. Now, just after 8 years, now he has to start the progression to becoming a full-scale full-time employee, which is another 8 years. So it'll take that man 16 years to make that same money. It's not that it's not that they expect them to make $100,000 a year right out of the gate. But what the union's fighting for, and as part of their issue with this contract, is Ford just asked for the right to do this as well, as Chrysler and GM. They asked for the right to make it unlimited temps inside the plants. So basically, they can get rid of the full-scale employees, and then they
But
can
if
play
they
with
get rid of the full scale employees, then who's going to get the benefits?
nobody. That's the idea. It's more money in their pocket.
Right. Wow.
So what they want them to do is they want them to pay up somewhere between, they want roughly 80% of what
Exactly.
they want 80% of what the full scale workers make, with a progression in stone that says, look, after 2 years or whatever the case may be, these guys are not only guaranteed full-time jobs, but they're also guaranteed to make that wage.
I know a lot of companies do like having temps, and I mentioned this last night, and it's because they get paid for the turnover. They get paid over for the hire and fire more than they get paid to have long-term employees and having to put out the 401k, the insurance benefits, etc.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure how that exactly would work. I'd never heard of it worded in that manner. But what they're doing is they offer those same employees, so Billy has a better understanding. Those same employees that also get hired in as temps also have to wait 2 years before they can get any kind of health care for their family. They also have to wait 2 years before they get any kind of dental or vision insurance. And then only at that point, after their 2 years is up, can they actually get the full-fledged health insurance like I have. They get a watered-down version of it. So it's not just pay, it's benefits. They also don't get profit sharing. They don't get short work week, meaning if the company runs out of parts and they send them home, they might only get 16 hours that week, and that's their paycheck. Versus me, if the company runs out of parts and I show up every single day, I'm still getting paid for 40 hours.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
where most businesses, you have a 6-month grace period and then you have a year grace period. And this one's going as far as 2 years. You had to wait 2 years to get insurance.
No, I got flipped. I got flipped to a full-time employee 5 days after I walked through the door.
Oh, I thought you had to do like so many months in that probation period also. I don't remember.
Nope.
It's been a while.
Yeah. But no,
I just
didn't.
remember that this was a big thing for you a year ago, because I remember you talking about this a year ago, how they were trying to do those negotiations and it just wasn't happening. You were like, they only gave us this much of a raise.
And unfortunately, that's the problem. Illiterate is they're saying that they want guys that are going to go in there. These jobs are hard. Like I said, it's legitimately somebody's job to pick up a 70-pound tire 500, 600 times in a 9-hour shift, 10-hour shift.
So for ladies out there that are looking for good-looking guys, get them out of the automotive industry.
They've got ladies in there that work. But that company is going to work you as hard as they can and get everything they can out of you.
And don't they
It is-
have medical on site?
We have our own hospital. Yes, we have a real doctor as well as nurses on staff.
I know. That's what I said. Alert. It sounds like a good workout to me. Well, let's hear what he has to say real quick, and then we'll move back on to our topic, which is, why the internet abuse and how to stop it. Because I have a couple of slides that I'd like to show. But I really do hope that B will go live with us on Sunday, and he can actually talk to, because this is another YouTuber gentleman here who's just talking to, random people, I'm assuming. So here, let's go. Let's see what he has to say.
Talking to, even the 20% that they're offering might get them back to where they were a decade ago.
Yeah, so and again, that's a great point. People need to understand that you get your they've gotten the 6% raises in the past. But when you have 19% inflation, that 6%, you're still negative. You're still negative 13% on your overall real wages, right? So people are making less today than they did 10 years ago. And one thing that's very crucial that I want the viewers to understand, I want everybody to understand, is that the workers in 2009, there's always been this famous saying, the auto workers helped bail out the big three. They did that because they gave up COLA. They gave up retiree pension and healthcare. They gave up these things to make sure that the big three were financially viable to make it through the recession. And now that they've been proven after a decade of profits, almost $250 billion in profits, they've proven that they're financially viable. They've proven that they're healthy. All these workers are asking for is give us back what we gave you to make sure you were good. That's all they're asking for, right? And this is also the first time since 1973 people walked off the line at a Ford plant. This is the first time since 1973. So this is historic.
Wow, that's been 50
You've only been in office
years.
for what? Less than a year?
About less than 8 months.
So not enough time to become corrupted, which is a good thing, because I don't love politicians, but you seem okay. Talk about, obviously it's a fine line in Michigan for the governor and other politicians, because the auto companies are one of the biggest employers in the state, but at the same time they're stealing from the workers, is how I view it. Can you talk about has there been enough other than politicians showing up now? Do you feel that the Democratic Party has done enough for labor, for the UAW here when the cameras were not here?
So I'll say this. This is the first time we've had a Democratic trifecta in Michigan in 40 years. And as a party, we're the first state that has repealed right to work, that has passed it. We've restored a prevailing wage, and we've restored a series of workers' rights in our state, right? Whether that is for our teachers and their ability to collective bargain, or that is for other private sector unions like the UAW. So we are doing a lot more for labor than we have historically. I'll say this: the Democratic Party has to be the home for labor, and that just doesn't mean we're a home for labor and corporations. We have to really be clear that we're a home for labor and labor first, right? Because that's the folks who this negotiation is a good example. When the UAW wins in the negotiation, it means there's more money in your neighbors' pockets and your friends' pockets. That means there's more money coming back to everyday workers. When the corporations win in the negotiation, it just means their P&L grows and their stock buybacks and their dividends get bigger. And to me, I think that's a no-brainer. We want to see people have more real wages, real wage growth. We want to see people have money in their pockets, and we want to see people be able to spend and save, both, not just spend, but save, look forward to their retirement. They can't do that now. You have people working on this plant starting at $21 an hour, $15 an hour in some cases, with no pathway to being full-time employees. That's a problem. That's a problem when you don't have job security. It's a problem when you don't know if you're going to be able to make it to being a full-time employee and have the security of a healthcare plan to look forward to, of a real wages to look forward to, of benefits, right, and profit sharing. You don't get that if you're a time employee on the line. You don't.
No, you don't, Humby.
No, not at all.
You had to wait for that. Yeah, you had to wait for that.
Yep.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay.
In some cases, you have time employees for 3 years, not knowing if they're going to get a real job offer. Yeah. That's a problem. And so, to your point, though, I mean, I've seen my colleagues on the line from the Democratic Party. I've seen the governor put out strong statements. I like to believe the Democratic Party is pro-labor before we are pro-corporation, before we are pro-business. We have to be pro-labor. And there's times when both coincide, but for me, it's always about being pro-labor.
Talk about, obviously, I'm not a big fan of Whitmer. She's broken promises to Flint. There's a toxic gas crisis in Kalamazoo that she still has not done anything about. Putting that aside, I will give her credit. Obviously, right to work being repealed is a huge accomplishment. Can you also
Is Michigan
talk about
a right to work
nationally,
state?
We keep hearing
It is
Biden's
no
most
longer.
pro-labor president. Okay.
Nevada's a
You
right
made
to
a
work
statement
state.
yesterday in support of the union. Would you like to see more from the Democratic Party nationally? They did push NAFTA many moons ago.
Yeah.
Biden was for TPP, which I think would have been the final nail in the coffin. It's nice to give speeches, but they have not really done anything to push the PRO Act. What needs to happen nationally?
So when you look at, there's two things you look at. Look at union workforce participation and overlay, and there's a chart you can see, I'm sorry, online, where you look at union workforce participation and then also the gap, the income inequality gap. And you see that as union participation goes down, that gap has skyrocketed. That should be a concern for our party. That really should be. When we talk about how we close the income inequality gap, it's by supporting and helping our unions flourish in this nation. So I would love to see, the PRO Act is a great example of it. I would love to see us pushing more pro-labor agenda, especially as we're looking at, these investments in technology and automation and AI. I'm a believer that technology and AI they are a valuable path forward, but we can do it intentionally to make sure that people who have real jobs aren't crowded out, that they aren't forced out into being either obsolete or forced out into being replaced by AI and then brought back as a temp worker, right? Making pennies on what they used to make, which happens. The bait and switch happens all the time. And as policymakers, we have to be smart enough to understand that. We have to adapt with the times. I mean, to your point, I would love to see, Biden and his
Adapt
administration.
with just
I would love to see the
cost
president
of
down there.
living.
I would love to see him picketing with some of these workers. I would love to see him.
I wonder if we actually did that whole equation on the cost of living and pay then versus now. Has anyone done that yet?
Oh, it's insane. Yeah, that's basically what they're complaining about is the cost of living has gone up. I mean, like I said, they said it went up, 3% in the month of August. Now, like I said, Ford, they've been not reasonable. They understand they have to do something. Like during their last offer to us, they offered us a 20% pay raise, which still doesn't bring us up to what we were in 2009. But it also, when you got 16 to 19% inflation, depending on who you ask, that doesn't even bring you up to where you would have been, in 2010 as far as pay wages. But they offered 20%, and then they offered us a cost of living adjustment, but they wanted to put a limit on it of 1% of your income.
Wow.
We all know
Thank you for
inflation.
coming. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Thank you, the chairman, for coming in. I appreciate you. Mwah.
Yeah, they I forgot what I was saying. Oh, the cost of living. So that 20% and then a 1% cap on the adjustment for the cost of living is nothing. I mean, if you make $100,000 a year and you make 1%, that's the most they're willing to budge. When their cost of living went up, as in cars got, or I guess everybody's cost of living went up. Cars got 30% higher in the last 3 years, and the CEOs took a 40+% raise. We as employees, they more or less kept us down in the basement. We got a 6% raise over the last 10 years.
Wow, that's not much. That's not even 1% a year.
When my dad,
The cost of living has gone up way more than that.
My dad retired from General Motors in 2002. When he retired from General Motors, it was $100,000 a year job. I told him what they're paying us right now at full wage, and he said flat out, he goes, "That is effing ridiculous." When my dad retired from General Motors, he made $54 an hour back in the early 2000s. It's these people don't understand. I mean, he's got a number of health problems from related to that job, and now that's the other thing they're trying to fight with us on is they want to take away. Once you retire, they want to take away your health care. But they say you can go on Medicaid. Well, no, you want that good health insurance to pay for all the damage that you've done to your body over the past 30 years working in that place.
Isn't there a time period that you get insurance after you retire? Like, I thought that goes with you for a certain period of years.
They want to cancel all of it.
Wow. Well, here, let's skip to this guy and see what this guy has to say, because this is actually a really long video. I didn't realize it was 2 hours
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, he interviews a lot of different people.
Well, here, we'll get bits and pieces of what each of these people
Work
have
he
to
is.
say.
How's that a fair system? It's just not, you know. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at.
You know, you could almost understand like a reasonable, step up the ladder, maybe a couple months, not 8 years. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Back a while back in the 90s, we had a system. Well, actually, before that, let's talk about before that. Before that, it was you would have 90 days. After 90 days, you were a full-fledged union member and employee of Ford Motor Company, and you received the top wages, right?
Hold on,
As
just one
everybody
second.
else. Then they went into
Miss T, if you're still in here, can you type a 1 in chat? Because I just got your texts. Is this the clippings that you were talking about? Company ordered dumping hazard. Company ordered dumping of hazardous waste. Strikers. One, just articles I have left. Wow. So in this one article, it
You're
says, huh?
I said you're so OC or you're ADD.
Wow. Well, no, she sent me the residents organized to fight factory fumes. And then there's actually like a court order from May 18th, 1994.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is from like May 18th, 1994. Wow. Vinewood Corporation. Craziness. I'll have to go over that and maybe share that on Sunday if we can get Bill to do it. Yeah. Okay. I'll be quiet now.
to a system where they would give increment raises. So every 6 months until the end of the contract, you would at the end of the contract you would be at top wage. Okay. Now they just want these tier workers to stand around and not get any benefits at all, low scale wages. You might as well go over to Mexico. I'm sorry, I don't mean to throw that out there, but it's just sad. It's just sad. And seeing it go on such a downturn really is disappointing.
Yeah.
Disappointing. They give their lives, and I know the company pays them, but they give their lives to Ford Motor Company, GM, Stellantis, Chrysler, that kind of thing. They've given their careers, their lives to the company. And we've different things that we've done to make the company more profitable in the way of quality. I mean, we're that is a big thing with us. We want quality parts going out of our plants. And when the company waves their hand and says, no, just let it go. Oh, no, we're not letting it go. And that's why we can stop a line for quality issues. So between safety and quality, we can stop that line at any time. And that's the beauty of that,
You might want to teach the railroad industry to do that too.
Something along that line, right? But yeah, it's just
Yeah, that man has 50 years in.
I hope for the best here. I hope both parties come to the table and we get a reasonable contract out of this. I think it's only fair to the members, and that's all we want, So
What do you think? I keep hearing on the radio, drive-in, on TV, Ford talks about this as a family. Yet 24 hours in, they're already talking about laying off 600 workers here. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a very nice family member to me.
back in some time ago, back in the it was 80s, late 80s, Clay
Blow it up. Yesterday, by the way, the rally, I think we had 20,000 views so far. So make sure you share that so we can get it out to even more people. We're now at 152,000 subscribers, so let's keep climbing.
Is that
and
my
let's
girl
keep getting
Cherie
members
coming
to
up?
sign up. I will shout you out
No,
on this live stream if you sign up.
she's not on until
I
Tuesday
I want to
night.
let you know my heart is here. I was at MAP and then I moved on to Livonia Transmission Plant. I have 30 years at Ford Motor Company. And as you can see, I have my solidarity dress on because I'm out here with my brothers and sisters doing my part. We need more support for our brothers and sisters here at locals 900.
900.
Yes, 900. And so it's important that we look out for the younger generation because it's not a good feeling working next to someone that's making $10 more than they are. And so I feel that being out here making our point valid, letting Ford know that we're here together and we're serious about making a change. And that's important.
Equality.
What do you think? Ford, you hear a lot, your family, blah, blah, blah. They're already talking about laying off 600 people, saying they have to because the workers went on strike and they're saying, they can't afford it. Well, the CEO affords $21 million for his CEO. I think they did another couple $100 million in stock buybacks. So seems like they're just
This guy, by the way, is not a UAW worker. He just runs a YouTube channel on basically economics and labor. It's called like the Status Quo, I think. You're right, Guidance. Like I said, what I was reading somewhere is they said for every one job at one of these union plants, there's 8 jobs out there in the private sector that will be lost for every one of ours that's lost. That's why Friday, instead of bargaining with them, their president went to a Ford plant in downtown Detroit that they want to close down to protest. It only takes 1,000 workers to affect 8,000 families.
For everything, childcare, food. Talk about the stress of you just kind of barely making it.
You can basically do what you want. But now that I'm in here, it's nothing compared to what I've seen or what I've heard. So if anything, if we can go back to where we can support our families with no issues, be able to do anything without thinking about a bill or the next time we get paid, it'll be great. Just have it to where we can live comfortably. If you can live comfortably, we should be able to live comfortably. Not saying we got to live as comfortable after CEO, but comfortable to where we don't have to worry about if our next bill going to be paid because we only getting paid a certain amount.
Yeah. We're living paycheck to paycheck, and pretty much most of the plant is living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
How does that make sense? How do they not feel bad about that? And today is our anniversary, and we're out here doing this.
Yeah.
There's nothing more romantic, huh?
Straight craziness. Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, maybe we'll get some more information. Maybe B will swing by on Sunday. Hopefully on Monday, we'll have some new information coming from there on are they working on any kind of negotiations over the weekend?
Yes. 24 hours a day, round the clock. They're at the Solidarity House negotiating. And as Billy said, cars cost so much now. I'm not buying a new $100,000 truck. And that's fine. But 3 years ago, that same truck was 70 grand. And that same truck went up to 100 grand. And we didn't get a raise. So where do you think that money went? That's why they say that they can't afford to give us a raise, but they can take one themselves. It's not bad policies. It's greed. There's no reason for Mary Barra, the president of GM, the CEO of GM, to make 20 times what she made in 2009, while her employees are making less and less every year.
Wow. Well, I mean, the reason they don't want to quit is because they know that if they stay, the benefits are good. It's just that the requirements to get those benefits, Billy, and how it's just the people that are already been working there that have the benefits, they have it good, but they're doing a lot of hiring and firing instead of investing in their employees, where it makes those employees want to stay and work harder and do the things that, someone that is a temporary isn't going to pay attention to. Most temporaries, they're not going to put the effort into making sure everything looks perfect before it gets sent down the line to the next builder. And if you take good care of your employees, then they're going to, put more effort and have pride in their job and, do things the right way and not let things that are shady out the door. I mean, I know that I've been on the phone with him when he's been at work before, and he'll be like, hey, this screw wasn't put in right, or, still doing like, oh, this was bent, we need to stop the line and get a different part and whatever. And you get someone in there that's not getting paid and they're just there just to like slap some stuff together. We're going to have some pretty poopy vehicles and more recalls, more, you have to think about it. You may not buy a car now, but what happens if you buy a car in 10 years from now and you have a bunch of shady workers in there and now you have all these recalls because people just threw shit together? It's way more than what we're actually looking at right here in front of your face. You have to look at the giant picture of quality control and how these people are going to look at their careers and, do they have the drive to stay in their career? It's way bigger than just a paycheck.
Yeah,
We're not just,
sorry, go ahead.
I mean, that's how I look at it. I mean, am I wrong?
There's so much more to it. Like he says, you only make $100,000 a year. I don't know where you live, but the average American salary is like $55,000 a year. So I understand that I make a pretty good income, but the job, I made more money as a machinist than I did at Ford.
It was just the benefits were better at Ford.
The health insurance is number one. I have a ton of health issues. So I need the best insurance money can get me. And I have it. On top of that, the other benefits, the paid time off, the things that my union has negotiated for us. But we've given up too many of those things to save the company, and now the company doesn't want to give them back. Then if you really look at it that way and you think, well, hell, everybody just walk out and they'll ship the jobs to Mexico. That's great. It's a great idea in theory for the company. But that is $5 billion every 10 days that does not go towards the U.S.'s GDP. That is, for every one of us that loses our job, there are 8 people in the surrounding community that lose their job. That is good. It's devastating. That is what happened to Flint, Michigan. When they took the auto plants out of Flint, it became a wasteland. They went from a town that had jobs that paid well, where people could really live a very good lifestyle. And they yanked it all. And when those plants left, so did all the money. That's exactly what I was just saying, guidance. Yep.
It's funny how that works, huh? So we will be revisiting this topic on Sunday, hopefully. If not, we will be touching base back on it on Monday, seeing if anything news happened, if there's been an agreement made, whatnot. We'll keep on top of it. So today's topic was actually about, why the internet abuse and how to stop it. Someone you may know be experiencing online harassment. Remember, you're not powerless. There is concrete steps that you can take to defend yourself and others. First, understand what is happening to you or your friend or so on and so forth, or someone that you may know. If you're being critiqued or insulted, there's actually quite a bit that you can do. You can choose to refute it or just let it go. If it becomes too extreme and abusive, there is legal issues that you can take. But if you are being abused, Naming what you're experiencing not only signals that it is a tangible issue, but you can also get help and communicate with allies, employers, law enforcement, etc. And then, I'm always going to say document everything. Always document everything. If you report online abuse and you succeed in getting it taken down, you could lose. If you don't keep track of it, you lose that valuable evidence. It's imperative that you find a way to hold on to it, whether it's through a flash drive, an external hard drive, etc. Keep it on your phone, but save it to maybe the cloud, something. You always need to always hold on to it, because that's the only tangible evidence that you have for your case. It's a very touchy situation. Sometimes it also depends on where you live. Some people don't take it seriously. And as time grows and moves on, society and law enforcement will all get on the same playing field when it comes to, online harassment or online abuse. Because this is still very, very new. They don't look at it as being as serious, especially when someone is, fairly far away from you. So please save your emails, your voicemails, and text messages. Take screenshots, from social media. Copy direct links whenever possible. If you have a link to whatever it's coming from, a lot of you do know this, and some of you are still learning. And if you haven't been there yet, hopefully it doesn't happen to you. It typically happens, because someone feels that you're a threat of some sort. If you're being made to feel that you are physically unsafe in any way, trust your instincts. Always go with your gut. Some people will be like, oh, I'm not really worried about it. Well, that's them. Always go with your own personal gut feeling. While police may not always be able to stop abuse, and not all authorities are equally well trained in dealing with it, because this is still so very new to our culture. At the very least, creating a record will be very useful for you later. And as times go on, it'll be more prevalent. They'll be able to handle. There will be laws put in place to stop things like this. Online abuse from interpersonal accounts, as hateful slurs, death threats, or interpersonal relationships that you have mixed and mingled with others online. Just be careful about who you're sharing your information with. And again, make sure that all your social media is locked down, and be careful who you give it to. And it's hard because we do want to be, part of our circle and our group, but you never know who else is in that circle and what their motive is. So motive is another huge check mark that, as you're going through this process, what's the motive? Why would they do something like that? Is that their nature? Is that their whole gig? There's this can be from anything from, people just attacking the LGBTQ community for a person of color, or, your education, to your finances. People can hate on you just because of your finances, or maybe, your where you are in education wise, or your ability to, convey what you. I always have a hard time conveying what I'm trying to spit. I'm too ADHD. Just saying. So moving on. Okay, so there was a study done in 2017 from Pew Research Center that had found more than 40% of Americans have experienced online abuse, and more than 60% had witnessed it from people of color or the LGBT community. People are disproportionately targeted, and women are twice as likely as men to experience sexual harassment online. And that's, unexpected, D-pics, or, them getting your personal information, and, being pursued constantly when you don't want to be pursued. Being
Does
in the
that
middle
mean
of a
oh, sorry.
no, that doesn't include you being. You still have to go dance on some tables and stuff.
I meant I was going to turn Arkansas in, but
Oh, for harassing you?
yes.
She just wants to marry you. She wants you to adopt her baby dog. That's all.
I'm good.
She's a sweetie. If you
I'm
guys
not-
have any questions in chat, just let me know. College cry closets. People wonder why society is collapsing. Police officers have to go through sensitivity training. I wonder why. So, I think I have brought up this before, because of the pandemic, and I'm not a big pandemic person, but a lot of, domestic violence and stuff has broke out, and a lot more people have been online. And so those persons that would normally be attacking in their close interpersonal relationships have been able to take it to the web. So, we're going to have an influx of those types of people coming onto platforms like this because, they found a new avenue to do what they enjoy doing. And it's too bad. Tens of thousands have taken to the streets to protest with police brutality, while millions more socially distance themselves at home, anxious and isolated, and their eyes glued to their phones and computer screens. In this climate of extreme uncertainty and unease, the tension plays out in real life. Are you sure to reverberate and escalate the digital realm? Vid-19 has already brought a rise in online attacks against scientists, public health experts, Asian Americans, among others. We will no doubt see an increase of abuse targeting activists, journalists of color, and anyone commenting or reporting on these type of protests. And I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like protesters and people who are like, for instance, like, Bullhorn Betty, like when she went out there and she was like boots on the ground, they were like, oh, they shouldn't be out there doing that. But yet I think that, them being out there and on the ground helped facilitate and move things a little quicker because the police didn't want to deal with it anymore. So it kind of like puts a little fork in their butt, makes them a little more proactive about getting things done, a little more diligent. For instance, like the case that, Guidance was just following with the escapee. The law enforcement didn't have a choice but to be very honest with what was going on, because there was actually people with, boots on the ground saying, hey, this is what's going on here today. So they had to be proactive and, have it out there in front of them. The abuse poses a direct and pressing threat to free expression, stifling unprecedented voices, intimidating the very expert providing us with the information and guidance we urgently need. At PEN America, and nonprofit dedicated to celebrating and defending the written word, we have seen firsthand the nefarious ways it has deployed to censor and silence. And when I say censor and silence, like, we all have a right to speak how we feel about something, as long as it's not in a derogatory manner. And it's when people take it over that boundary of being derogatory or, verbally abusive or, attacking other people. That is when it's gone beyond where it should go. I could say, hey, B, I just don't like you. It doesn't mean I have to go find him, hunt him down, and then, harass him or torment him. I just wouldn't deal with him. I just wouldn't go where he was at, whatever. Some people, some of us have had a hard time getting away from certain places we've been just because, we start becoming attacked.
And that's the personal attacks are one thing. Some of this stuff, though, I think is pushed by the media. They want to push a certain agenda on you. They want people to believe things. When I grew up, if you were black, you were black. If you were white, you were white. And there wasn't all this bullshit fighting in between them. Now, every day on the news, you hear about a black man did this or a white supremacist did. Why are they pushing this agenda so hard? I don't think America's anywhere near as bad as the. I work with every single race on the planet, as you can see from the videos. I don't see that shit happening at work. I don't see somebody, oh, I can't work with this person because they're black or they're white or they're Hispanic or they're Muslim. I don't see it at work, but I see it on the news every single day. It's ridiculous.
It happens in all areas. And, a lot of people don't understand YouTube is a place of employment. And so why should we be attacked at our place of employment? It may not be our only job, but it is a place of employment. Anyone who has a monetized channel or working towards getting monetized, it is still a business. You still have to fill out your I-9, whatever it is that we filled out. Still got to fill it out. So it's still a business. It's still employment. We do a service for YouTube. YouTube uses what we make as content to put it on their platform. And we get paid a percentage of the money that is made. That's just how it is. And I think a lot of the YouTube chaos or any social platform like this is out of, jealousy or worry about, the income that they might miss. Or it could just be jealousy in general. I don't know. I really don't know what is triggering, that drive to be so hateful. But online harassment has made a huge, massive, it's like blown up like a freaking volcano. It's crazy.
Oh,
I don't know.
I forgot to hit the like button. Sorry. Everybody hit like if you haven't yet.
Yes, it is. It's gaslighting.
Harass my feet? What the hell?
Harass my feet, I get off on it. Welcome in, Lambrow. So first thing you want to do is, you want to identify it and kind of like, is this being mean-spirited? Is this just a critique? Is someone just saying, maybe I just need to change this about myself? Or is this like a direct insult? Is this, even a riddled comment that's like, oh, how do you say that? Be like, not an innuendo. Would it be like an innuendo? Like condescending? Condescending. It's kind of condescending comments. Yeah. You're not only a terrible writer, but you're a moron. So that right there is an insult riddled comment. That is a direct insult riddled comment. Someone just saying like, you're the worst writer in the world. That's just a spirited critique. Like that's a mean spirited critique. It's not like, you just have to figure out like, where is it coming from or how is it coming across? Or outright abusive, containing example of like your gender, your race, your racial slurs, or even threats. You can't write and you deserve to. Yeah. Those things, that's like just an outright direct threat. Period. Online abuse is defined as repeated or severe targeting online that is more than one time. That's more than 2 times. So, one time, okay, so they don't like me. They move on. 2 times, 3 times, then now it's becoming repetitive and it's severe enough for you to complain about and actually take it a step further. Online or individual group through harmful behavior, common tactics to abate, ever involving and often overlapping, including hateful speech, sexual harassment, threats, physical. This could be sexual. This could be violence, interpersonal, doxing, non-consensual, pornography. So, like porn bombing, not porn bombing, but, porn revenge, message bombing. And if, like, for instance, someone starts messaging you, oh, you're so great. You're so great. And because you're like, well, I'm really not interested. Oh, I freaking hate you. Same thing. And I can put in chat, more detailed examples of these type of terms if you guys would like. If you're being critiqued or insulted, you can choose to refute it or just let it go. Again, And if it becomes more abusive, you need to document it and then, hand that over to law enforcement and say, these are like direct threats. Documentation will be necessary. Sorry, excuse me. For you to engage with law enforcement and pursue legal action. It can be hugely helpful in conversations with an ally, manager, employers. Repeating abusive comments aloud, or that can also be very re-traumatizing. And, even when they paraphrase it, it's still re-traumatizing. Pointing out, screenshots is often less uncomfortable and more impactful. You need to be able to assess your safety and how this is going to affect you. Love bombing after insults, like, oh my God, you're so great, you're so pretty, you're this, you're that, but yet you're a freaking dumbass. I've gone through it myself. I'm sure most of us have, most recently. Assess the safety precautions as far as, how much do these people know about you? How can this affect you in your home life? Can this affect your family, your children, your relatives? When it starts bringing in other persons into your life, into their life, they're taking that step too far. Do you know your abuser personally, or is this someone that is, off the internet, or someone that, you met in person and now they're on the internet doing this behavior, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever they call it now. Is there a history of erratic behavior by this person with other people? These are all things that you need to group up in long form to say, look, there is a long history. I'm not the only person, kind of like when I went through the domestic violence situation. I was not the only one that the perpetrator had abused. It was pretty much anyone that perpetrator was with had a long history of it. I wasn't the only one, and I won't be the last one. Is there any threats that are direct and specific? If so, make sure you have those, most definitely. Does it include your name, time, a place, a method, or a method of attack, or how they plan on attacking you? Definitely need those. Does your abuser seem irrational? For example, threatening you using your real name, email, and phone numbers. Those are not allowed to be used. Just letting you guys know. Not allowed to be used. Has the abuser migrated across platforms or moved offline? Voicemails, physical mail, packages left at your door, workplace, etc., showing up at your work or your house, place of employment. Above are some red flags. I'm going to copy and paste these into the chat real quick. For you guys. So you may need to temporarily relocate to a hotel, a friend's house, completely move locations. And depending on the circumstances, you also may need to consider reporting to law enforcement, as I've said before. While not all authorities are well trained in dealing with online abuse, at the very least, at least you're creating a record. Even if they don't do anything, guess what you have? You have a record, because there's always going to be a number that goes with that report. I called a report number. Typically it's called an incident report, even if they don't make a case out of it. So every single incident report, you have a list of those numbers. And then at some point they do have to take it seriously and say, hey, wow, this has been going on for a hot minute. Maybe we should do something about it. Typically, if law enforcement doesn't take care of it the first or second time, they do take care of it by the third or fourth time that this is, been going on and escalating. If you are not comfortable with engaging in law enforcement on your own, consider bringing an ally with you, enlisting others to help you, like your manager, employer, friends, close relatives, just to help keep you calm in situations like that, because sometimes it can be unnerving and you're not sure how they're going to react to, what you have to say. And this is where you have to put your big girl pants on or your big boy pants on and be like, hey, this is potentially going to protect me in the long term, and it could potentially stop, most likely very shortly after, law enforcement does get involved. block them, mute them, report them. Blocking, muting, and reporting abuse on social media platforms are each distinct actions. You can block accounts so they can't reach you. You can mute their account so they can't contact you, and you can report the account. Some of us know how that works pretty well. It does work. Doesn't stop them from running at the chops elsewhere, but it does stop them from at least you being able to see it. You can sometimes mute your accounts or even specific posts or words so you don't have to see them. You can report abuse that violates terms of service to try to get posts taken down and or an account suspended. While valuable tools like these are still imperfect, blocking can escalate abuse. Muting can mask threats you may need to monitor and still report. A lot of people were like, well, why do you even go there? Why do you even go and watch? Well, because I still need to be able to, kind of be like, what's going on? And it's really an unhealthy feeling. And it's kind of hard to deal with sometimes. Bolstering up some cybersecurity. If you don't have a VPN, get one. It can be difficult for your mental space to tackle cyber security and when you're under attack, but abusive trolls will often try to access and broadcast your private information just to humiliate you or intimidate you, as we all have seen. So to protect yourself from hacking and that type of behavior, practice basically cyber hygiene. I know, sounds weird. Cyber hygiene, just really keep your stuff clean, change your passwords regularly, and get a VPN. Don't use simple passwords. Don't use your name, things like that. They do have programs that can give you some really weird, crazy passwords that, are really just out there. So, it helps make it to where it's not as easily figured out. To protect yourself from doxing and other invasions of privacy, and that's exactly what it is. Doxing is an invasion of someone's privacy, whether it's someone that is doxing you or you accidentally dox yourself. If you have accidentally doxed yourself, take it down immediately. If others are doxing you, make sure that you report it. Some things are more tangible to law enforcement and the legal system than other things are. So, but it never hurts to try. And if you need, get a professional opinion or get multiple professional opinions on how to rid of those types of situations. And again, enlist allies, other people that can kind of help you out and keep eyes out for you. Sorry. While discussing online abuse can, elicit weird feelings and the feelings of fear and shame, remember that abuse is intended to isolate you. You're not alone. None of us are. And it can happen to anyone at any given time. So seek support from friends, families, and colleagues. And even those friends, families, and colleagues that are like, well, why do you even go on there? It's not about going on. It's about still, you have a right to have a space. And you should continue using that space. You shouldn't have to run from a space because that's exactly what they want. They want to intimidate you. And that's not fair to you. If you are being abused in retaliation for work, or you're concerned about a professional ramifications, or you feel physically unsafe, seriously consider telling a professional, or for instance, because we're kind of employed by YouTube, you need to go to YouTube and you need to discuss it there. If it's happening on Facebook, you need to take it to Facebook. If it's happening in multiple areas, you could still take it to law enforcement on any of those cases. But when it's happening in multiple areas, some platforms take it more serious than others. Facebook doesn't take it very serious at all. It's almost near to impossible to have Facebook take things seriously. Because not everyone is equally well-versed in what online abuse is. I did post some information in the chat so you can kind of get an idea. Speak out about it. Let people know that it is happening. Don't be shy about it. You have a voice and you can use it. And the more that it is put out there and it's known, the more law enforcement is going to work on getting rid of it. If we all stay quiet about it, they're not going to find a need to fix the problem. So keep that in mind. I literally says, I feel abused emotionally and I need healing. Aw.
Who hurt
Oh,
you?
lady. Oh, this is very informative or informative information. Inky, thank you for sharing. You're welcome, hun. Oh, lady. It literally says he needs help with his emotions.
Somebody
Okay.
get that man some help.
The standard advice is don't feed the trolls. Okay. And it's hard not to because they feed off anything.
I say F them and keep moving, but
Exactly. But, you know, they feed off everything. A lot of people would say just get off the platform. Don't give them anything to chew on. It doesn't really work. When confronted, you may be, you know, it may escalate those attacks. So when you bite back at them, it will escalate it. Always does. Never fails. And they enjoy targeting you and lashing out. That's something that they get off on. Speaking out against abuse, however, can also be profoundly empowering. 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 How you say it? Empowering.
empowering.
Yeah. It can be profoundly empowering. And I can't say it fast. Empowering.
You sound like Arkansas.
Oh my God. I don't know why it's like me trying to say Indianapolis's. The Indianapolis's. I don't even know how to say it. The key is to be careful and deliberate as you decide on what and how you're going to work through this. One way to do this is practicing, you know, counter speech without directly confronting, you know, the abusers. And that's what they are. They're abusers. They get off on it. You guys, I know it sounds crazy, but it's a form of abuse.
I don't understand a lot of it, especially like on here. I mean, maybe I just deal with it differently. I say you can turn that shit off and keep moving. Like, I mean, should you have to leave a platform? No. But it's a lot, or even mute the person, delete, block them, whatever. I mean, if you don't have to, I don't know. That's what I said before. I think a lot of people on here feed on drama.
Well, it's, we don't technically feed on it. What it is you take so much and then you end up retaliating at some point. And then they're like, yeah, we got it. We got her. We got her to get snappy.
I guess I don't know. Like I said, I just look at things differently. Maybe I'm getting old.
You are old. I'm the young one.
And I'm a couple years younger than you, so.
Oh, then I'm definitely young. Oh no.
Oh no. What?
Uh-oh. I might be out of a vape. Oh no. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
I know, right? Such a tragedy. I know I was doing so good. Okay. So like have like a counter speech where you're not like, you know, just staying well composed. Don't lose your composure. At least try not to.
You sound
like
like
a fake persona. Huh?
You said you sound like a robot.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just me or if everybody else is hearing it too.
I sound like a robot?
You're not now, but you were.
Oh, maybe it's because I was moving around looking for the vape. Oh, I found one. Okay, great. Yes, because it can be, it's not even about the bullying part. It's more like, I don't know, straight harassment, I would assume. Okay. So, you know, by practicing counter speech without directly confronting the abuser, Counter speech could involve forcefully denouncing harassment and hate, defending your reputation, reclaiming abusive symbol or hashtag, etc. Checking disinformation and enlisting the support of your allies and employers, friends, family. Some folks have even gotten really creative in responding to their abusers by sending puppy photos or telling their mothers about their bad behavior. Hi, AMC. I'm going to tell your mommy you've been a bad boy.
Why are you bullying that person? You're threatening them in a bad
You've
way.
been a bad boy, B. I'm telling your mommy. But basically what I'm saying is, you do what is right for you, but just be mindful of social media and how things are exploited, clipped, and remade, voiceovers, and all the other stuff. So even if you did try to explain yourself, it could be snipped, clipped, and voiceover, and even taking your voice and saying things that you didn't say. So just be very, very careful and just expect it, especially on a platform like this where you're trying to get up the ladder. There's always going to be someone that's either on the same ring or above on the ladder that's going to try to kick you down a couple of notches. So you have to be prepared for it and expect it. Just remember how to handle it. XOXOANC. Practice self-care, and online abuse can elicit feelings of fear and shame, and it can be very exhausting, and it's very demoralizing, and it can do real long-lasting damage to your mental and emotional and physical health. It can make you where you don't want to leave. You'll end up sitting at home, stressing, raise your blood pressure, all kinds of things. So, just keep in mind of self-help care, and, maybe go take a bubble bath. Go lay out in the sun and get some vitamin D.
I am
Do things that make you happy. And remember, what? That's just someone's perspective, and that's their own personal issue. They have the problem, not you. This can include even meditation, cooking if you like cooking, listening to music. I'm a big music person, so I'll catch myself singing and doing things that make me happy on the inside. Some people can seek professional mental help. That can help. But if you get to a point in your life where you're feeling hopeless or you're paralyzed by the fear that they're what they're doing, and you're losing sleep and you're not eating right, seriously, get someone to help counsel you and take it to law enforcement. Tell your close friends and family, hey, this is what's going on. So just be prepared if someone does contact you. And I know a lot of people have had to contact family members and be like, hey, this is what's going on. I'm just letting you know this person may try to contact you. And that's if they know who you are. For those of you out there that they don't know who you are, keep it that way. Do your best. I know it's not easy. You don't have to listen to me or follow, each of these steps verbatim, but I'm just trying to give you some avenues on how to deal with certain situations. And, this is what my channel is about. And, and it's about helping stop it while it's still in such low form before it does get any more exasperated than it already is. Aimed with your own wits and resilience bolsters you some concrete guidance and support from your friends, your family, and others. And, you can help have that power push back against abuse and protecting this space for free expression in this digital realm. And for all of you wonderful creators out there, I'm very proud of you all. And I wish you nothing but the best. And I did get this clip from Harvard Business, and I will drop the link in the chat if you would like to read the entire forum yourself.
Oh, there it goes. I thought it was froze for a moment.
What was frozen?
The chat. I thought it was.
Oh, they're probably just being quiet. Never share your accounts. Beware of shoulder surfers, people like peeking over your shoulder. Safeguard your passwords, get a VPN if you can. And remember, lock down your social media, change your passwords regularly. Google yourself. see what information is published about you, and then there is contact me via email, and I can give you an avenue that you can be taking off the web and even the black web. If you don't have Credit Karma or a credit monitoring agency that you work with, get one. They can also tell you what email addresses you have that are on the dark web. Yes, and they can help remove them. Does anyone in chat have any questions?
Well, it's like
So what
crickets.
I
said it's like crickets. Everybody's quiet.
There's probably a few people live. It is Saturday. But I had set this up probably over a week ago, and I've been working towards doing this session. And I feel bad for, not being able to really have the energy to be on here as much as I would like to be. But I'm working at it. I've been on 2 days in a row. I'm proud of myself. Maybe we'll make it 3. Yeah. I've just been having issues like the computer. Remember, I was like, I don't know why my RAM is all redded out. And it's still green, B. It's green.
Good.
I had to go in the BIOS and do all kinds of weird stuff. But I was ready to toss it out the window earlier. Did you find some peanut butter guidance?
What is guidance doing with peanut butter?
She wanted a PBJ.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to hear nothing crazy or sick, so I'm just checking.
Not from this channel.
Yeah, you never know
what
about
kind of channel do you think this is, B?
You never know about these YouTube streets.
Oh my goodness. Oh, my toddler did. She said, I was just listening to it. You know what I want to make? I think I'm going to make it after this because, my little monkey wanted me to watch a movie with her. So I was thinking about making some popcorn with maybe some peanut butter on it.
You know what I was thinking about making? Taco salad.
No, that doesn't sound good at all.
That sounds delicious, but horrible for me.
It sounds like rabbit food.
Taco salad?
Mm-hmm.
Not even close.
It had salad in it.
Oh, shut up. It's also got tacos.
I don't know. I make some good tacos, though.
How does anybody say no to tacos? In reality, I'll probably have a grilled chicken salad tonight.
A grilled cheese sandwich sounds good.
No, I said grilled chicken salad.
Why is it all this chicken stuff? Ugh. Eat more beef.
It's low in fat.
Eat more cows. Like the eat more chicken.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the billboard out there by the, what is that, the grapevine?
Mm-hmm. Do you remember? And then the little moo-moos were walking around underneath it.
Yep.
It was funny. I was like, look, the sign had the little cows and it said eat more chicken. And then there was real cows roaming around underneath the big sign. I thought it was hilarious.
Guys. I'm getting fat. Lean meals.
Meat. She says, B and I need lean meat. I just don't like chicken. It is. And then if I do eat chicken, it has to be barbecued.
You know what?
On the barbecue.
I've been making this Cajun chicken in the slow cooker. And it is fire, but it is spicy.
Oh. Oh, and please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, you guys, if you could. Before you step out. Need your carbs.
I don't need carbs. I need to get rid of carbs.
I've just been eating fruit, meat, and raw vegetables. Seems to be working.
Are you losing weight?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I only got 10 pounds to go.
Yeah, he was getting huge. You were like to $120 for a minute.
Oh, screw you. I was $130 for a minute. Yeah. I was like, how did this happen?
You know how many women would kill to be 130 pounds?
Well, it's just weird because it came on like within a few months. It wasn't like over a long period of time. And that's 35 pounds in April, May, June, July, August, 4 months. That's like that's almost like 10 pounds a month. That's a lot.
I gained,
That's excessive.
I think I gained 48 in the hospital, something like that.
That's water weight.
Yeah.
That's different.
I felt like such a fat ass leaving. I couldn't even button up my pants.
Aw, did you have a little food baby in there?
I had a little everything. It was, the jeans were like a 34. I couldn't even button them up.
Man, since I can get to YouTube now, hold on.
Oh God, here we go. What is she doing now? This is just
Okay.
weird. Did you start this live really early tonight?
I know. Oh, I did. I don't know. No, I didn't. I switched it to 6:30 and then I was like 2 minutes late.
Oh, imagine that. Inky late.
It was by 2 minutes.
It doesn't matter. You're always late.
Look at that. My RAM is green.
You want a cookie?
Yeah, I do. The internet's a little slow, but the RAM is green.
Well, go get yourself a cookie.
I might have to make some. Oh no, do I have the screen of death?
If you do, I'm going to crack up.
Oh, just zip it.
All right. Well, since the panel is over,
It's
I will
not.
jump. Oh, I
I'm
thought
playing
you
this video.
You done told us to click our button on the way out the door.
For anyone that's leaving, I said make sure they hit the like and subscribe button on their way out the door. I'm just waiting for the screen to load in the bottom. So, B, are you what are you doing on Sunday?
I'm going to cut the grass tomorrow, and then I'm going to go strike.
Yay! Okay, let's see if it pops up. I don't want the screen of death.
Well, hit play already.
Is it up? Oh, it is.
Gamergate, it is time to step up our game. We can end this bitch once and for all.
They want someone to kill you.
I know they do, yeah. I get enough death threats.
You're going to die. Death is coming to you real soon, mother.
Is it playing?
Remember the American dentist that killed Cecil the lion? Online vigilantes shamed, threatened, made life hell for him. Perhaps you think Walter Palmer and others got what they deserve.
And here I am.
Sorry.
And good night, guidance.
No, I'm not leaving.
Killed in the Sandy.
No, I said guidance.
Many victims feel the justice system leaves them defenseless against internet attacks and want to change how we communicate online.
Nighty night, sweet pea.
Well, this is one way I get to feel Noah close to me on a daily basis. So this was one of the cars. That was his. And his twin sisters that had matching planes.
Leonard Posner's 6-year-old son, Noah, was one of 20 students and 6 adults killed in the 2012 shooting at the Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut.
He had just turned 6, so he had just lost his first tooth, and his birthday was on November 20th. So it was literally just weeks before the shooting. That was the nuclear explosion in my life.
President Barack Obama called it the worst day of his presidency.
I'm back.
I can only hope it helps for you to know that you're not alone in your grief.
Sandy Hook took center stage in the gun debate, making the tragedy personal and political. Soon after, a small and vocal group of conspiracy theorists took to the internet, calling Sandy Hook
fabricated.
It's fake. I believe they're trying to cover something up.
And we hear this a lot on the internet. They'll be like, oh, this person really wasn't missing. This person, I think I even heard that the escapee was a fake player, that he wasn't really even a criminal. I mean, I've heard everything. Everything. B, can you believe that? They were trying to say that the guy that escaped was a, oh, darn, guidance isn't here anymore, a crisis actor. That he was never really, he never really committed those crimes. It's crazy, huh?
It's a pretty elaborate story, if so.
Mm-hmm.
We've clearly got people where it's actors playing different parts of different people. It's a total hoax.
This is my page, which existed to post images of Noah. After the shooting, I started noticing I was getting comments, but they were hate comments.
Posner and other parents were accused of being government operatives who staged the massacre.
And this is still a form
After
of
Posner
abuse.
tried to prove that his son's death was real, he became a target. His address, phone number, and other personal information spread online.
They're hoping that the right person comes along and reads that information and then does something about it.
Did you hide your imaginary son in the attic? Are you still f***ing him? You f***ing Jew bastard?
That's why Posner, who's now
And this happens all the time, guys. All the time.
divorced, says he feels the need to keep moving 6 times in 6 years. It's also why he won't show his face anymore.
You're really concerned that people might be able to figure out where you are based on this interview?
There have been interviews done where people used parts of the railing on my balcony to identify where I live.
Who's been the #1 offender in your life?
Wolfgang Halbig is the one that emails my comprehensive background check to thousands of people.
I don't want to believe it's a false flag, but when you've got Wolfgang Halbig, you went and investigated, no paperwork, it's bull.
I see people like Halbig like cyber serial killers. They have no conscience. They don't care who they hurt.
That is a perfect way to explain it. They're not physically out there hurting you. They are cyber. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Don't you think, B?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Cyber murderers.
I wouldn't go murder, but I would.
That's what
Wolfgang
he just said.
Halbig
That's
has
what they are.
spent countless hours examining photos, videos, and news reports. He thinks Sandy Hook is a conspiracy.
The question that has to be asked in this
Those people
picture,
that dive into
where
conspiracy
are
theories
all
to
the
that
police
extreme
cars?
really need
There's
serious
not
mental help.
one to be seen.
Halbig thinks
Instead of just
ABC News
having
fabricated its
a
special
form of
report on the
compassion for the
shooting.
victims.
Site today of a mass shooting, and this time gunfire aimed at elementary school children.
I think they shot the video 2 days before the shooting.
So you think Diane Zor was in on it?
Yep. And I challenge you and your company to verify it.
This is nutty.
He also thinks other mass shootings have been staged by activists who want to restrict the rights of gun owners.
So Parkland, do you think that was a hoax too?
I think it's an outright hoax. It is an illusion.
I guess what I'm trying to understand is why would you do a background
Hi,
check
Fast Eddie. Welcome in,
on
hon.
a father, a grieving father who lost his son?
You don't even know whether they're dead or not. You don't even know.
I do.
How do you know? Did you see the bodies in the casket?
The Sandy Hook shooting, that's been investigated by the Connecticut State Police, by the FBI.
When a parent claims that he lost a child at Sandy Hook, He's become open game.
Halbig tells us his family has begged him to stop his pursuit of Sandy Hook.
It's the first time ever that my two sons did not call me on Father's Day to say, Dad, happy Father's Day. They are so angry that I'm still involved in this thing, but I cannot
Shouldn't
let
that
it
tell
go
him
'cause
something?
I really believe I am right.
You would think.
Leonard Posner has filed police reports against Halbig and worked with online platforms to remove thousands of defamatory claims. But the harassment campaign continues. Danielle Citron is a law professor who specializes in online privacy. She sees situations like Posner's being the results of social attitudes and law enforcement not taking these cases seriously.
In Lenny Posner's
And for those of you that have been out there and you feel that your issue has been dismissed, keep pushing, because eventually the laws will get changed to where this is now something that is more extreme and not just, oh, they're miles away. They really can't hurt you, da 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 da.
case, the people who've been targeting him, they're true believers. Shouldn't their free speech be protected even if they're saying something that most people disagree with?
If they are spreading factual falsehoods,
Yeah.
that's what a defamation suit litigates.
But where's that line? Remember that dentist, the one who shot the lion?
lion.
Isn't that free speech?
That's online harassment.
They're harassing him.
Shaming and that cycle of shaming
Mhm.
can very easily cross the line into the very kind of stalking, threats, privacy invasions, and defamation, technical attacks that should be criminalized.
What's the reluctance then on the part of law enforcement to go after these cases?
We have a number of fabulous law enforcers across the country who are trying,
Mm.
right? We don't hear about them enough, and there are not enough of them,
And does this have to happen at the federal level?
federal and state.
The Pew Research Center reports that 41% of Americans have been personally subjected to harassing behavior online, but only 19% think law enforcement takes harassment complaints seriously.
And that's fact.
When this piece was published, Posner's local police did not respond to a request for comment, but the FBI argues that it's the sheer volume of reports they receive which accounts for any perceived lack of follow-up. We visited a woman who lives near Boston who's trying to change legislation.
Can do that.
Oh! Brianna Wu is a video game developer. She was one of several women harassed for challenging sexist stereotypes in gaming.
Gamergate. It's a story about sexism in the world of video gaming.
Brianna Wu has been outspoken. She says she and her husband had to flee their home this weekend.
Gamergate was the birth of a set
People have had to flee their home.
of tactics that you could use to silence people that you didn't like.
How bad did it get?
The death threats that they sent, guess what, bitch? I know where you live. Your dead, mutilated corpse will be on the front page of Jezebel tomorrow. If you have any children, they are going to die too.
You've memorized these.
And now those are
It's-
direct
You don't
threats.
get something like that and not have it scare the hell out of you.
People have impersonated her to get private documents, taken photos of her from across the street, and recently
Using
a brick
fake
was thrown
narratives.
through her window. Wu has decided to put her video game career on hold to pursue politics.
One of the reasons I ran for Congress is because it's like I'm on this list. I'm going to be harassed. So instead of making games, let's get to a point where we're trying to change policy.
So what happens if you don't win this primary?
I run again in 2020. I am in this for the long run.
Lenny Posner shares Brianna Wu's belief that change is going to take a movement.
People need to take civil action.
And that's what I've been saying for a long time is this is a movement, you guys. This is a movement. This isn't just a couple of complaints here and a couple of complaints there. This is taking it above and beyond with the energy that you have. It's a movement. Making it happen.
Action against online cyber stalking. You have to sue everyone harassing you online.
After nearly 6 years of alleged harassment, 7 families of Sandy Hook victims and an FBI agent are seeking at least $1 million in damages from Halbig and Alex Jones. Representatives for Alex Jones say the lawsuits against him lack merit. Wu lost in the Democratic primary election, but she hasn't lost her conviction, and neither has Leonard Posner.
Is this the rest of your life, you think?
Protecting Noah's honor? Absolutely, yes. Of course. There's a lot of education that needs to happen. The cyber world cannot be a free-for-all.
Exactly. And that's what they think it is. Oh, well, I'm not there in person. So what can people really do? It can really mess with people's minds. So, that has to be taken into account. It may not affect them physically, but it could affect them emotionally. What do you think, Bill? B.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
We try to get a little closer.
Oh, there, that's much better.
Okay. Yes. So, it's all of this. It needs to stop. But at the same time, you can't have the world like super, super sensitive and, offended by everything you do either.
Well, no, there's a difference. Now, if you would have listened to, the things that I said earlier, there's a difference between someone saying, hey, I really don't like your work, or your work is shit, or your work is shit, you need to die. I mean, there's a huge difference in their being explained, or their mannerisms, or, their tone and all that stuff. There's a huge difference in the way that people use it to, segregate you and alienate you versus, just really just, critiquing your work or just not liking you as a person.
Of course.
It's just a different way of abusing. And that's what I said a little bit ago, was that, abuse went from interpersonal, which is, up close and personal with people, to now, because of the, World Wide Web, they have all these other avenues, and people that have been able, due to the pandemic and all that, people have, swarmed onto the internet, where now they're using that as what they would normally be doing up close and personal, because now they can get away with it more. Now they're keyboard warriors, in a light way of saying it.
Lots of those on here. And I've heard them, I'll beat this person, meet me here, I'll beat this person. It's like, come on, dude. And most of these people are well beyond the age of teenagers where they would do things like that.
Mm-hmm. This is stuff that should have been left in high school, junior high, elementary.
You see men that are approaching 50 talking about, I'll fight you, I'll beat you. Come on. You sound dumb as hell.
Craziness. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to email me, and I will be jumping back on tomorrow. I may jump on a little bit later this evening. I'm going to sit down, watch a movie, have some popcorn, and then I might be jumping back on later. Not sure what the topic later will be yet, but it will be good.
Great. All right, I'm gonna go make my salad.
Okay, you get out of here. Goodbye. Thank you for being up. For everyone else, I greatly appreciate you all being here. Thank you for hanging out. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I love you all. Mwah. Have a wonderful evening, and I may be jumping back on later tonight. If not, I will definitely be on tomorrow. We will talk B into going live with us live from the Ford plant in Michigan. Okay. Love you all. Have a wonderful night.